What's up, guys? Welcome to episode number 126 of the Always Race Day podcast. I'm Connor Ferguson here with Caleb Sloha and Josh Olmstead. We are going to get into everything that happened in racing over the weekend, from Jake Swanson's win, IndyCar on a really tight course in Detroit, what's going on dirt with rubber being laid down on racetracks, and talk everything about a marathon race that was Gateway for the Cup Series today. We're going to get into it next on the Always Race Day podcast presented by the Carl Group. Hey, Caleb.
Yes.
How's your car situation going?
I got one. Bought one around here. Unfortunately, didn't make the trek out to Carl Auto, but if I would have, it probably would have been a little bit better than the situation I have right now.
That's fair. You don't have to name the dealership. How were the employees? Were they nice?
Yeah, I mean they were pretty nice.
Nice to the Carl guys?
I got lucky with this one. He was pretty nice, but I've definitely met some pretty antsy and pushy salesmen. So
how's the cleanliness of the car? Was there any dirt inside it?
Yeah, there's some gravel and stuff on the floor.
Okay, yeah. See, and where did you go Friday? Hawkeye Downs?
Yes, I did.
This explains everything. See, if you would have gone to the Carl Auto Group and made the trek over to Knoxville Raceway, you would have seen a kick-ass race for the non-wing sprint cars for the USAC non-wing sprint car series with Jake Swanson winning. And you wouldn't have had dirt anywhere in your car as long as you didn't come on Friday when it rained there. So all I'm saying, if you haven't gone down to the Carl Auto Group to get the car that you need, you're in the wrong place. Get down there. Appreciate them partnering with us and being the presenting sponsor of the podcast. Let's get into the race weekend. Tons of stuff to talk about. I like to call it a little appetizer weekend, just with where team series and certain drivers are racing, getting ready for this week that has the Dirt Late Model Dream at Eldora, as well as the World of Outlaws race at Knoxville. Their weekend doubleheader there. And then Sunday, like the marquee event of the year, Chase Elliott returns to NASCAR after like 12 days off, and we haven't seen him in forever. So blissful weekend coming up, but we have to talk about this weekend first.
So, tell me what exactly happened in Knoxville, because I know it rained. We had our fair share of rain at Hawkeye Downs as well. And if I'm not mistaken, Knoxville's seen more rain than racing this year, right?
Yeah. Oh, it's been terrible. It's awful to start the year. When a national tour's in there, they'll try everything they can do to get the show in. So lasted about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours of just standing around time. And the rain, it just kept pitter pattering. There was no then it downpoured for a while, like 20 minutes worth, but then it just kept little singular droplets and stuff like that. Do you want to start with dirt? We can start with NASCAR.
No, I say we just go in order. And
okay, well, Caleb wanted a rundown. I gave him a rundown. Okay. Rundown is just in the chronological events of the weekend. But that's fine, because we'll let stuff kind of get rolling with. No, let's start with NASCAR, because we have Indiana Midget Week is running and Huset's is running, and if we're still talking and the race is going on, I'd like to hit those. So let's start with what this developing situation is between Richard Childress Racing and Austin Cindric. I guess in the post-race, I'm guessing that was a post-race interview. Jeff Gluck just tweeted out that Richard Childress believes Austin Cindric wrecked Austin Dillon on purpose as a form of payback. Josh very smartly asked, payback from what? I don't, whether it matters or not, he's going to be suspended if we have SMT data that shows he turned the wheel to the right at all, or left, whatever. I'm thinking in the video. Hold on. Yeah, left, right?
It would have been left.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is where the gray line is going to kind of bite us in the butt, because I'm going to sneeze. Now it's going to be.
Hey, that was an excellent sneeze pause.
Thanks. I try not to, make everybody else hear it, but
you're fine.
Now it's going to happen again.
Oh, we jinxed it.
But now it's going to be, where even if Cindric didn't do it, but, it kind of looks like he did, he's going to sit out. And now, that's the precedent. So that's kind of the downside. It looked like he hooked Austin Dillon, but it also, like right after that, Cindric doesn't go all the way to the bottom, and he struggles and goes up the track too. So I don't know. I guess I'd have to see what happened beforehand.
I don't know, and I don't know if it was payback from this race or a previous one. I don't have that in front of me right now. Bad journalism on my part. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if Richard said it, but we talk about right rearing people, and you said last week right rearing people isn't acceptable.
It's on purpose.
I've proposed the case by case basis thing where no rule should have precedence, and I think there's positives to that and also a lot of negatives to it. As far as then you open the door to a possibility of different levels of penalties for seemingly the same results. I don't think we have the answer on this podcast, but what do you think now, I guess? And Josh, you can weigh in too, but just about what are we going to do with these possibly on purpose wrecks and teams accusing each other of wrecking each other? Is this going to be a thing we hear about every week?
I don't think so, just because
Probably makes our job easier, honestly.
right.
Easier to identify rivalries if we have team owners claiming that someone wrecked their team. It kind of reminds me of baseball with the coach from the other side saying to check the guy's glove.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm going through and trying to find some more information on it. I'm not finding anything, but it just happened.
It's very dry. It just came out.
Yeah. I don't think we're gonna see it too often though, just because the penalty is steep when it comes to this format. Maybe a couple years ago, people will be willing to take that chance and getting a suspension just because you didn't have guys winning as much. But if you're a Ricky Stenhouse who has a win in the bank, but yet guys are kind of still you're still on the brink of guys winning to where you can get bumped out, or even if you haven't won in the year, it's just too steep of a penalty to take that chance. And obviously the emotions run high and you don't think in the moment, but I mean, this is the third incident in the last few months, but what about before that? I mean, we haven't really had any incidents that have been at least outstanding.
Well, I mean,
in 2 years
you're
now.
saying if you're saying last few months and you include the Bubba one from last year,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Because before that we didn't really have any. But I feel like you see guys in dirt races go up and run into someone. You have to be vigilantly paying attention, but nothing comes of it. They'll do it under caution. They'll send messages and stuff to each other, hand signals and all that stuff. You guys get what I'm saying, but it's always going to be there, I think. And if we're going to penalize every single one, Carson Hocevar is going to end the year with 17 starts. But that's what's going to happen is if we're going to take this precedent and run it into the ground, we're going to run it into the damn ground the rest of the year.
I think fans get confused though, because I already see people calling for I don't know, there's a big difference between intentionally wrecking somebody and unsafely intentionally wrecking somebody, if that makes sense. And obviously there's no clear-cut line for that, but if you wrecking under yellow has always been seen as a big no-no too, but if you intentionally wreck somebody, it's just not the same as if you right rear them into the wall. That's just, across racing has always been a huge no-no. And then if you're going to bump or hit somebody under yellow, that's not that big of a deal necessarily. But, you know, if you are hitting them while, you know, they're around safety crew, like that's again something that, you know, have to be looked at. So I know there's fans out there that, like, now every time somebody wrecks each other, or every time somebody, you know, purposely wrecks somebody, you know, the fans want a 1 week suspension. Like, they wanted a 1 week suspension for Hamlin at, oh God, where was it? Was it
Phoenix.
Kansas? No, for the Kyle Larson deal. Was
Oh
that
yeah, Kansas. Yep.
they were like, well, why didn't he get suspended for that? It's not the same thing. Like, over aggressive driving and even, you know, getting even is not the same as right rear hooking somebody into the wall. Because there's people too that, like yesterday, now they want Creed to have 1 week suspension because he spun Nemechek, and it's there's a difference. There's a difference, and I don't think some of the fans understand that. But you want to have that hard racing and that boys have at it, but you can't have them sending each other head on into a wall.
Yeah, and don't give the just not uneducated, but maybe misguided or purposely passionate people. Don't give those people. I did that today on accident. Basically, my For You page was filled with people calling NASCAR unprofessional and stuff for Fox losing the broadcast when it was internet issues at the track at Gateway that actually took out the radio broadcast for longer than the race had paused for. So that was unfortunate, and you know that stuff's always going to stink. But I just think if we're going to get into the debate on this guy needs to be suspended for this or that, and it's simply based around, well, they suspended this guy a week for wrecking someone, so why doesn't this count? Like, if I bump and run someone at Bristol, am I going to get suspended because I crashed him for the win?
But I think NASCAR's made that pretty clear, though.
I know. They have to an extent. Let me ask you this. Do you think Austin Dillon is going to get suspended? Austin Cindric is going to get suspended or do you think he should be suspended, I should ask, if the S&T data shows that he turned that way?
Well, that's hard because if
he also does, he has the corner is going to the left.
Yeah, see, that's the problem. So, like, they'll be able to look at it and say, like, okay, all the other drivers start turning in the corner here. He started, 80 feet sooner or whatever. They'll be able to
or
look
your
at
last lap. Yeah.
But they'll also be able to look at too and see if something was wrong with the car or, whatever. Like, so it's hard to say. Like, if he did it intentionally, then yes, I think you have the same deal as the others. But they have to show that it was intentional. That's, if it wasn't intentional, then no, he doesn't deserve, that penalty.
Oh my God. I'm sorry. I completely ignored this. And sorry, I have just interrupted Caleb again. So we're off to a rousing start. My bad. I guess that part of the SMT data, I looked it up on Twitter just to make sure right now. I guess that some of the SMT data wasn't working for teams today because the internet.
Well, so that was my next question.
Yes. So
the SMT data was part of the internet issue, from my understanding, or whatever.
The scoring, NASCAR scoring, they have a thing called the Virtual Media Center. It lets you see like how far exactly away a driver was off his last lap, where the best lap of the race was. It's your typical higher analytics. Not even analytics, but just more detailed stat leaderboard, live leaderboard for media members to follow during the races. It was not working at all today. I checked it out multiple times during the race. It never changed. It had the Truck Series logo on the banner. I don't think they could get it to work. I don't know if that's connected to SMT. And obviously, SMT is way more needed than that. It would be a higher priority thing. But I also think that scoreboard is a pretty low data-driven thing. It seems like a more simple thing to set up. I'm going off guesses, educated guesses here. So I don't know. I could be wrong, but I assume that, maybe that if that's not working, is the SMT data working, and do all the teams see it, or is only NASCAR seeing it? What does that look like here? And will that impact Gateway hosting a cup race in the future?
I mean, I don't think you can, I
hope it doesn't, but that pisses off teams. It pisses off everybody
Right.
involved.
Well,
in
and that was,
aspect.
so Gustafson made the comment, he apologized to LaJoy that he couldn't help him out more because they couldn't see the data. And somebody on Twitter made up the great point, other teams managed to, figure it out without the data. And, we've been running the sport for how long without the data. So like maybe, don't rely so much on the data. But yeah, so I think that was certainly an aspect. So I wonder if they'll have the data because of, that outage. Maybe the data doesn't exist on Cindric. So yeah, I mean, we'll just guess we'll have to see what happens with that. But it just, to me, that one's a little bit harder because you're already turning left, kind of where it's not so obvious that, he was blatantly trying to wreck him. And we don't have a reason to why he would have done that. So
I just got to prove that you're the more superior Austin in NASCAR.
Yeah, there you go. Maybe they have something in the war room. But yeah, without a reason to be like, that's why he wrecked him, or that's why he might have wrecked him. Like, it's kind of hard because you can't just say, oh, he wrecked him in retaliation for no reason. Like, you just can't cry wolf like that. So we'll see what comes.
And two, I'm glad you brought it up like you did, because I've said on the show, I don't know if I was as impressed at Josh Berry as a lot of the NASCAR fan base, NASCAR media people. I don't know if I was as impressed as the industry was at how he performed in his Cup Series starts this year, filling in for Chase Elliott and Alex Bowman. Today was a big win for him. Looking at Corey LaJoie in that number 9 car, I feel like that actually probably pushed me over the hill more than anything. That I think Josh Berry's got what it takes. I didn't think he was bad before, but I just thought, you're in a Hendrick car. Okay, he got a second place. He did it off pit strategy. Good for him. That's second, but I feel like that was more of a Gustafson thing. It's like, oh, he had it up front for a while, and something happened, this and that. But he's way more relevant in every single race he ran than Corey LaJoie was today. And Kyle Larson and his team, with the tools they have, and obviously they have Kyle Larson. He's the greatest driver of the current generation. I'll say that for a fact, for sure, that I've seen personally. And Kyle Larson and Cliff Daniels, they got it reversed and got it done and got up to the front. They didn't win. They were on 2 tires the whole time. They had a gamble, but they did what they could, and top 5 finish. Corey LaJoie, what did he finish? 31st?
21st.
21st. That's a top 25. Damn. It helps that other guys wrecked out. I think that probably helped their scorecard a little bit.
Well, it's a rough situation because obviously he struggled all day. You didn't, but the thing was, Hendrick didn't really show up today either. They didn't bring their best stuff, and then of course you don't have the SMT data with it. A lot played into it. He has a couple issues early on. We don't know whether that played an issue throughout the race as well. It's just hard to really. A lot of cards were dealt the wrong way for him. So obviously he's going to be frustrated about it, and it's a bad look. But there was a lot of factors, in my opinion, that went in today happening at once that kind of led to not such a great run overall, in my opinion.
What do you think those factors were?
Like I said, they had issues early on in the race. We don't know whether that was a factor later on. Hendrick was a complete miss on the weekend, in my opinion.
Okay, you're tying it in with just the team.
Yeah, and then
Gotcha.
not having the data to help improve the car and where the issues were.
No, I should have connected that. That's my bad.
I think that is
But
fair
I couldn't
because
see my own face, so I turned on the lights in here. Sorry, Caleb. Go ahead.
I think that's fair because it wasn't like Hendrick was all running in the top 10 all day and LaJoie was 30th. They definitely weren't on it like they were when Barry was driving. I also don't think it's like you can't necessarily rule off of one start. But unfortunately for LaJoie, like that's all he's probably going to get. So it's kind of, unfortunate for him. But, I was more impressed with Hocevar. He, like he's had his issues in the truck series and stuff. That's made me look at him and, think questionable stuff. But he outqualified LaJoie and then was outrunning LaJoie for most of the day until unfortunately he succumbed to the brake pad or the brake rotor, excuse me, that a bunch of other drivers had issues with. But he was fast.
Yeah, we'll get into the brake thing in one side. The only other thing I wanted to say is the common public and NASCAR fans and fans of normal sports. I think we talked about the JR a little bit, but you don't understand how much luck goes into some of these things. Like Ricky Stenhouse was having a fantastic day today. If he finishes top 10, top 5, and climbs the standings even more, he looks far less like an underdog and more like okay, they're having a pretty good season. And today impacted that a lot. It's 1/15 of the point standings, right? So just in the same vein as that, like Hocevar running really, really well is going to come off really well for his brand, and LaJoie running really poorly is going to be very poor on his name. And for better or worse, you hope that the people that are making these decisions are putting context behind it, but sometimes people are going to remember Carson Hocevar today in December, and they probably won't remember Corey LaJoie, at least from this race. So
it's hard too because
is that fair? No, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we know all the other factors that go into it too. Ultimately, it's who's got the money to follow along with them too. So, odds are if a team's looking at either LaJoie or Hocevar, the first question they're going to ask is who's going to bring more money with. And if they were both to show up with the same amount of money, then you'd have to look at that. But yeah, I mean, to me, it was impressive on what Hocevar did in the equipment that he was in. But again, like Hocevar mentioned too, he currently doesn't even have a job for next year. So it'll be interesting to see how that all shakes out. But they always say, you have to be talented, you have to be fast equipment, and you have to have the luck. And, like we've seen Bubba Wallace has had multiple top 5 finishes in a row and, had a strong run going today, probably was only going to get a top 10 instead of a top 5. But, he had the brake rotor issue too. And so that ruined his day. It sucks for some of those guys. And we've seen guys' career end off of that because despite them being, more talented than what the results show, at the end of the day, the team looks and says, we, just didn't have the finishes. So they boot them.
Yeah, like Michael Annett, exactly like that. Good kill.
Yeah, or you can even go further too, and like the sponsorship stuff. One that always sticks. Oh, don't even get me started.
We're gonna get to it.
We'll get into that.
But one I think of too was like Reed Sorensen. Reed Sorensen was leading the point standings and got booted from the ride. So there's just so many like factors that play into how life goes on in motorsports, really.
Right. So this rotor issue, we've seen wheels coming off. We've seen tons of stuff like that. Whatever NASCAR. So what did NASCAR do to the cars that caused them to shift this week far more than they were shifting last year here? And that I understand. How I understand it is a product of the brake rotors failing because you're entering the corner at higher speeds. So that's putting more pressure on that right front brake. That's how I understood it. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, so I'm assuming it was a package deal because this year's short track package is different than last year's. So I'm assuming it has to do something with that because they were going higher speeds in the turn, and they even stated in the race that
This
the
is on the short
constant.
track package?
I believe so.
I
It
wouldn't
should
think
have
it
been.
is.
Why?
It's
Why
like a
not?
mile and a quarter, right?
I don't know. That was my guess.
No, I don't think this is their short track package. They talk about that, and it's 6 races, and one of them's on dirt.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know then because
Because they run intermediate at Phoenix too.
yeah, I mean even Phoenix was different this year than it was last year, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
I mean they could have made adjustments to that other package. I don't remember it. I don't know if it was a product of something else but something changed to where they were shifting more this weekend. We were talking about shifting.
Yeah, that was
I,
a big highlight.
the only
And
time that I remember talking about shifting are really at Martinsville.
yeah, they did say though that the explanation for the issues was with higher speeds and then harder braking. It was like doing more cycles than what the brakes were used to, so that's why there was like multiple brake
Well, and
failures.
the issue too is Gateway has such long straightaways, and you're going so fast on the straightaways, and so in the corner the brakes are getting super super hot because you're going super fast, so you're slamming on the brakes, you're braking because those are tight corners. With them, as you're going down the straightaway, the brakes actually have time to cool off. And so what's happening is they're going through this process of getting super hot and then cold, and then I shouldn't say cold, but cooler, and then hot, then cooler, and hot and cooler, and hot and cooler. And what happens with that stuff, I mean, if you think about normal metal, as you're doing that multiple times, you're just weakening that. So it's something that they're definitely going to have to look at because it was, an issue with what, four cars,
I believe 4.
four. So that's 3 too many for.
Thank you, thank you for deeply explaining my statement.
Sorry, you guys are good. I was looking at USAC. It's Indiana Midget Week, so they're I think starting soon. But I got hooked up and trying to connect to the internet on my phone because it's being dumb. You guys have anything
You and
else for the
NASCAR
NASCAR race?
both.
We got to talk about Kyle Busch winning for the 3rd time for RCR already.
Yeah, so I think they said most wins since 2019 when he got his 5 at JGR. So they've haven't been, a dominant car, but they have definitely showed up to a couple different races and been super fast. So I think they're going to be a strong championship contender.
I think
Obviously,
today they had a dominant car.
yeah,
Oh,
I mean, I think
absolutely.
that'd be fair to say. I just they're not one that like no Larson at North Wilkesboro, or like they just haven't been the absolute strongest. Like,
You
oh, this
mentioned
guy,
like one of the 3 Bloomquist ass kickings we've seen in the past 3 years.
I know, but it's
You're holding them to a high bar.
well, it's just not one of those that like we knew, on the final restart, like Kyle Busch has this absolutely in the bag. He's going to run away. Like there was a chance that somebody could have beat him. Like he just wasn't like ultra faster than everybody else, but he was strong, and we've seen that a couple times from him this year. I think he's going to be a strong contender if they can keep it through. One that still sticks in my mind is Joey Logano, where they haven't necessarily had the speed, but they end up there at the end of the race. And if they keep doing that, it's going to get them further than they should be. So I think that's one. Obviously, the Hendrick cars will be strong. But I do have one NASCAR topic that isn't on our list, and I won't. The only other thing we've got too
You're
that
good.
I think we should bring up, just briefly, So Ross Chastain gets into McDowell. I'm under the impression, I think it was mostly a racing deal where, again, it comes back to Chastain was just ultra aggressive.
Yeah, so what I wanted to talk about with that, I was kind of taking notes as the race went on for that one. I had everything else before that. I got to do better with rundowns because Caleb takes them very seriously, not in a bad way. I just didn't know you would go word for word on it, but I love it. So
as far as what?
Oh, just it's probably on me, honestly. It's how my brain thinks. So like I remembered I wrote down Ross Chastain's name and something happened with McDowell. But the bigger question I had in my mind about it was just on there's a contingent of people out there also, and I'm such a hypocrite already on this episode. Screw you, Caleb. Not your fault, but there's a contingent of people out there that think that Justin Marks, when he said we're going to have a talk with him, we had a talk with him, he's going to dial it back, this and that, just to have a response to Rick Hendrick. They think that they're actually pulling him back, and I don't think you're doing that. That is not how race car drivers think. They go out there and they do their thing. There is no, I'm going to go out there this race and purposely try to not wreck anybody. Like, no one has that in their mindset. They want to go fast, they want to go ahead of other cars, and they want to go win. And however they approach that and whatever they need to be told, there is not a let's dial it back to 85% today. That is not why Ross Chastain has been slow. He just hasn't been as good. And that can be the answer.
I think it's worked a little bit.
He doored Eric Almirola in 3 and 4 for like 25th, and then still got passed by him 2 laps later because he wasn't the faster car, and it just didn't work for him.
When was that?
25 to go, 30 to go. It was in that big smear of every caution you could ever think about, and a red flag to repair a wall because we got brake rotors exploding.
No, I think he has dialed it back some, just on the aggression standpoint, and I think it probably has affected him a little bit speed-wise. I'm not going to say it's, everything, but I did think it was interesting that, the last couple weeks, we haven't said his name because he hasn't bulldozed anybody over, but he also hasn't been super fast. So it's been very interesting, but this is another one where, again, it's like kind of just a racing incident, but probably still too much aggression for, it was like what, lap 60 or whatever, like it was so early on in the race still. And it's just one of those things where like he needs to learn to be more patient, because it probably wasn't the worst thing in the world. That's like a normal oopsies for a driver. But when you've had 12 incidents so far this year, it's not a normal oopsie.
When you've had 11 oopsies, the 12th daisy.
Like, yeah, it's so and that's what I've talked about before, is now it's like every time he does something, like this would be an example, every time he does something, we're going to be, oh, that's Ross Chastain doing Ross Chastain things.
We already did that. We've done that for the past 2 years.
But that's what I'm saying. But like, and this is one of those stances.
For better or worse, by the way. Go ahead.
Yeah, it probably wasn't the worst thing in the world that happened today, but now he's just got that track record, so it looks bad because, again, he's had. I mean, it stuck out to me so much when Fox did the thing, and was it Jamie McMurray that asked him? He said, in the last 9 races, you've had 9 incidents. And Ross just goes, oh, I must have missed a couple. Like, you just own up to that's horrible. Like, at a professional motorsports level, if you're hitting a 100% incident ratio, like, that's not good. So that's not something that you like want to have. But the last couple weeks, he's been slower, but he also hasn't wrecked anybody. So
with the risk that I basically act as a hypocrite again, just thinking back to like Chase Elliott this week and people pissed off that he didn't make this big apology letter. I don't necessarily care if you release a statement as an apology. I don't care if you say you're sorry or not. We're not dating race car drivers. Sorry to me and Caleb. We are fans watching the race. I could care less if they say sorry. Bubba Wallace probably has to say sorry to save a little face, because there's so many people out there that just don't like him for that one reason that I won't say. You can pretend that that's different. There's a contingent of people out there. You can pretend they're not on Twitter, or that they are on Twitter a lot, and there's burner accounts, blah, blah, blah. Don't really care. But that he gets that. He probably needs to make that apology to save face in that situation. I didn't think Chase Elliott really needed to say sorry. I would expect him to text Denny Hamlin sorry, say something when things cool down. I don't really care what he says. And I don't necessarily care that Ross Chastain has usually never said sorry. What I want to see is, if you're doing this on a rotational basis, that we're talking about you a lot, and you're getting your own basically Fox propaganda commercial about, and that one was not political, guys. That was Fox propaganda. He wrecked like 6 people in 6 weeks, and they're like, we got to do a big glowing story about Ross Chastain and how he's taking over the sport. You want to say you're good for ratings? Well, have some personality when people are talking to you. Take into account what they're asking and answer the question. That's what I want to see out of that. So I feel maybe I sound like a hypocrite right now. Let me know if I do, because it's a fascinating discussion about what we expect people to say after these things. And I just expect someone have Ross just watch 10 hours of WWE from pick 3 or 4 random episodes from 2000 to 2014, and just see if he picks up on a quote and see if anyone notices. Be a hell of a mental exercise.
I agree with you on the second part as far as the Ross Chastain stuff. I'm not over here super, super upset that Chase Elliott didn't do an apology. However, I do think it looks bad for a couple different reasons. I think, again, we're talking about you're sending a dude head on into the wall, and you basically are arrogant about it. Just not even that, but he thanked everybody for their support, basically taking almost a victim stance on it.
Here's that part of it, though. With the precedent NASCAR has set, if you say anything at all convictionalizing yourself, you're giving them the penalty. You're saying, yeah, I did it. Boom. So you can either try to say that you didn't do it on purpose and not look like a dick, or just say yeah, I hate Denny Hamlin. He's wrecked me before.
Yeah, and maybe Chase's standpoint still is that he didn't wreck him on purpose. That's the angle that he's trying to play. But the penalty was already announced. Hendrick was not going to appeal it. So if Hendrick's not going to fight it, it kind of tells you something. And it just came off super arrogant that that happens, and it's because I've seen some of his fans even that were pretty put off by him not acknowledging it and basically just saying, oh, poor me, come check me out at the Napa store. So like I said,
it was just a normal tweet that he was going to send anyway. It wasn't supposed to be an apology. That was just the next tweet that was scheduled. But it probably got scheduled after, but that was not meant to be. He wasn't going to release a statement about why.
Here's the thing: if it didn't include the context of, and I don't know what he had said right before that or whatever, but he included the context of, thanks for everybody's support this week and blah blah blah. So either lean into it or don't at all, but don't just brush it off. And you can't, if you're going to say, come check me out at the Napa store, then everybody can go, oh, that was a scheduled tweet. They're, just not acknowledging it, blah, blah, blah. But you can't just kind of look over your shoulder and, give a little wink and then, keep walking. It just, you got to either lean into it or completely ignore it.
Yeah, I just don't care about written statements whatsoever.
I get it, and like I said, I'm not
I get it, for a fact case, but yeah, I know what you mean. And And
It
obviously,
just
like I'm a
speaks to the
Hendrick guy.
level of care, in my opinion. Like it shows what your mentality is on it, I guess. So,
Basically, what's going to happen is Chase is either going to apologize to Denny at some point through word of mouth, over text, in a conversation before driver intros. Unless George Russell is there, then everyone's day is going to be ruined. Somewhere along the way, they're going to figure it out and they're going to be fine. Or Denny Hamlin's going to see Chase coming up and he might throw a move that he wouldn't throw on another driver because Chase doesn't care about Denny's health. So why should Denny care about Chase's? And maybe he'll bump and run him on the last lap at any racetrack, Phoenix, whatever. That'd be
right.
We're gonna have to save this video and clip it if that happens. But that might happen too. So I think that kind of stuff will figure itself out. I just think if you're in a wreck every week and making enemies every week, that you might as well own it and do that stuff. So,
right. Final thing that I wanted to bring up real quick before we move on to IndyCar. The Jeb Burton versus Chandler Smith deal.
Yeah, so whenever I woke up to read that text, I got back here. I'll talk about Knoxville. I got back here. It was like 4:30 a.m. So no, it wasn't. I worked for like an hour after getting back, but I got to bed around 4:30. Basically, I woke up in the middle of the morning at like 7:45, and I look at my phone and I see a thing from Caleb, and it said, "Got that story coming on Burton Smith." And I go, "What?" I'm like, "Is he talking about the SMI, like Burton Smith? Like what?"
I know what
happened with that?
Funny.
And I was so confused. And then it happened again because I had forgotten about it. I went back to sleep, woke back up. You sent the message like, "Hey, that story's ready." And I went back up and I go, "Why do you spell it Burton Smith? What happened with this?" You threw me for a loop completely. But Jeb Burton and Chandler Smith are fighting because Jeb tried to punch him, said he kicked the crap out of him on Twitter. Made very not cancelable, not anything, maybe some, but pretty like aggressive statements to say. And Chandler Smith put a video package together that basically said, "You didn't even hit me."
Yeah, it was so obviously basically on track, something had to have happened because Chandler tried to wreck him like 3 times. And Chandler's not just going to go do that just for the
he's a man of God.
Yeah, but anywho,
I'm pretty sure Chandler Smith got shipped on a restart. I'm pretty sure that's what happened.
Yeah, there was obviously something because he wasn't just going to do that for his own enjoyment. Like, there's just no reason for that. So he tried, and I don't agree with the fact. Like, if you try to wreck somebody once and you don't, move on. But
you're saying don't move on?
No, I'm saying move on. But so he tries, finally, sends him through the grass or whatever. Jeb says, "I'm going to break his nose after the race." And so then after the race, they go to their car. Jeb, I think, went to Chandler's car, and they're having a heated talk. And then Jeb shoves Chandler, and you can basically see no hits really land. But then after his interview to Front Stretch, Jeb says, just talks it up about how he just whacked him in the head 3 times and he just knocked him silly and, just talking it up, being a big man to himself. And then goes on to Twitter and continues just throwing trash out there. And to be honest, I was talking to them earlier today. He did the same thing with Kligerman, where Kligerman made him upset and he went in and threw a fit, but then he went to Twitter and sat and just was a absolute crybaby on Twitter, and just didn't stop. And his tweets, I almost want to pull him up, but he was talking about, don't mess with a cowboy or whatever. Like he just was trying to make him seem like he was just the absolute man, and he just knocked him silly and sent him to the infield care center and all this stuff. And Chandler didn't really say anything. The only thing he responded back was a video of the fight, quote unquote.
It was a meme video designed to make Jeb look really dumb. And
it did his job. But here's the thing. There's no other better response than if you're going to start saying a whole bunch of things.
No, that's what I want for an apology. I want meme videos. I want this to be the normal.
It's a good
strategy. It's so well put together. Hats off to whoever did that. I'll talk to Dylan Coyle. He works for Colleague now in Chandler Smith. Maybe he had a hand in that, or he knows who we can tell good job to. Because I would like to do a good job to them.
But it's good when one guy is out saying this happened, and this happened, and all you have to do is post the video. You don't have to say anything. He didn't say, oh, well, if you look here, he didn't even punch me. He just posted the video, and everybody was like, oh, so he didn't actually punch you. And he goes on to start talking crap about Chandler's wife, and it's disrespectful, and he thought he was cool, and he thinks he's this big old macho man, and it just makes him look like a child, to be real honest. So that's kind of my rant for the week.
Yeah, so he Caleb sent me that story. He sent it over Google Docs. So I got to get Caleb login for our website. We're doing that. It should be ready tomorrow, is what I was told.
That's good.
So there's a tweet in there. The tweets didn't want to format right. So if you clicked on that article early, I apologize. Kind of my fault. So was that tweet deleted? Or was it a reply tweet?
Oh, it was a reply tweet.
Okay, because it didn't come up when I was searching his name and everything, and I figured that was the only reason that I would miss that. So he replied to a picture of a young baby crying. And so why do you think he's crying at Chandler Smith's dad or something like that along those lines?
Oh, that one I don't think exists anymore. But no, so I think I know what you're talking about. So
do you want me to look? I don't know if I can.
I'm looking right now. So
okay.
He had tweeted, "Cheers to the 27 fans. My guys work way too hard to be wrecked for no reason, yada, yada, yada." And of course, people started responding, and somebody said, "Ran him down into the wall, then mad that he dumped your talentless bleep. Talk about only having a ride because of last name."
Whoa. What do you say? Don't bleep stuff on my show.
Ass. He said talentless ass.
My whole thing, I'll get to that.
So then Jeb says, "I ran him down because he drives like a tool bag. He got 3 fists in his head because of it. Have a good night. Don't mess with the country boy. You will get the fist." Big man who didn't land a punch. But anywho,
before you started talking about, at the start, I was like, yeah, this sounds like the guy I want to have a beer with, that he's somehow still up at 425 and wants to hit each other in the head with a piece of 2x4. But super nice guy after you get him off that train of wanting to do that. It sounds like that guy, but the more and more that you go into it, it's like, geez, man, you can't say that. And it's stupid to say it. It's dumber to think it, that a kid crying in a photo is setting you off somehow.
So then, this is where I think what you're talking about or whatever. But so somebody goes, "Bro, he has no marks on him. You're literally a clown. You live off your last name and constantly bitching about somebody. You're worse than a woman at this point," which Always Ray State does not agree with the statement above.
Good legal claim, Caleb. Nice job.
There's solid today. There's plenty of jobs in the racing world, but driving isn't for you, homie. And then Jeb says, "Ask his wife why she's crying. You're hitting a child. She knows what he is." And I think that's probably the grossest tweet out of all of them, because it's
is that insinuating that there's
it's
a household domestic violence issue with the guy that you're arguing with on the racetrack?
It's personal. That's just personal. it just is so childish.
There is the other side where, like, I mean, that could be just like psychopath that we don't see, but like the chances of that in the context that we're given, 1 in 15,000 at least. Like, I don't even know if it's appropriate that I put a number on that. So sorry to anyone that would be offended by that. I'm trying to say it's kind of a crazy situation that those words were exchanged. That makes sense.
Right. So then Couch Racer, who's kind of became more popular lately, but he had said, and
we're still referring to the he and Couch Racer as Couch Racer. We can do that, and that's fine. That's fine.
What do you mean? I don't.
It's Couch Racer.
Okay.
It's good. No one knows who it is, so don't ask.
So anywho, Couch Racer said we need a replay of Jeb and Chandler, and I almost wonder if like Jeb didn't think the video was going to come out or something, because Jeb responded and just said he felt it.
I honestly, like, looking at the video, he probably got somebody else and thought he was hitting Chandler. Do you think we're ever going to reach the time in NASCAR where we can have that almost cartoonish, like, if you know the TV show Recess, where there was that famous gif from Recess? I don't know, but there's a circle of people and it's a one-on-one fight and no one's going to break it up until you need to. Like, that doesn't happen anymore, and it almost feels Neanderthalish to suggest, but it's like, can we give guys space and also give TV camera space? And, you know, any journalists in the area, can we give them the circle? And then you got to fight through them to get to the one-on-one fight if you're an employee of either team. I think that'd be fair.
I don't know. I just it ended with Chris Rice putting Jeb Burton in a headlock, which I think is the funniest thing of all that, is Jeb, you know, talking all this crap, and really he was the one that ended up in a headlock. So, and
another hypocritical thing for me. Good for Chris Rice. Awesome.
Like,
way to be up there to defend your driver. So I had a couple weeks ago, this guy was mad at Chase Randall. I think it was Joby Miller. Threw his steering wheel at him on the track at Knoxville, and the cops roll up to Chase's pit, and Chase is a pretty level-headed kid. He'll be pissed about it for a sec, and after that, it's like the next time he gets in a race car, you know his mind is going to be on racing and going fast. It's not going to affect him, whatever. And the cops walk up to Chase's dad, and he's a little blue-collar working machine. Guy's funny as hell. Probably like 5'9", 120, 130. I could be undersizing him a little bit, but not the biggest guy ever. And he's from Texas, and he's heart of a Texan. And the cops walk up, and they're like, you know, we'll just hang around and, you know, make sure. And he goes, we don't need you. We're good. We're ready for him. It's fine. Let him come over here. It's all good to us. And it's funny to see. So props to Chris Rice for defending his driver in the same way.
Other than that, I think we'll move on to IndyCar.
To be fair, it was not Chris Wright that put him in a headlock, according to the video that I saw.
Screw off to Chris Rice then. Why weren't you there putting him in a headlock?
Who put him in the headlock? Because it looked like Chris Rice when I saw the video.
I remember someone tweeted that too. Huh?
It's a bigger dude in a suit that works for Chandler Smith. I don't know who, but there's Chris Rice was talking to him afterward, like yelling at him. But like it looked, according to the video, it looks like some dude that was wearing a fire suit had him in a headlock.
Oh,
I thought when I first saw the video, I guess I had made that.
It is a guy in like a fire suit. So it's
someone said it on Twitter, and I might have even shared it with the group chat. So I don't blame you for thinking that. But
yeah,
good research, Josh. Fundamental job on this.
We'll want to change that then on our. We'll want to change that.
I can update it. Yeah.
I was just looking through it because I wanted to see if I found more information, and I just saw that video
Send the video to the group chat.
Okay.
So, oh crap, where was I going?
I don't know. We were about to talk about IndyCar.
I know. I was going to connect it to IndyCar.
Oh boy.
I know. This is bad.
Oops.
I'll probably think about it later. So IndyCar today, Alex Palou in a racetrack, a very tight, technical, super, super skinny racetrack, dominated, but he dominated on a racetrack that he called too small, too ridiculous, too tight, whatever the three words he said, kind of paraphrasing. But he had harsh criticisms of the track after practice and qualifying. And wow, IndyCar somehow, even when you didn't think it was possible, they got through today with a somewhat chaotic but still fun race. Kind of a period with a little too many cautions where you're like, this is getting kind of slow. Didn't amount to anything that we saw at Gateway because they had like 6 in a row. But IndyCar today, another spectacular race for what they were doing. And the pit road thing went off without a hitch. I win my bet. No, nothing bad happened on pit road. Suck on that, everyone doubting me, doubting IndyCar. Now, we should put in the context that we totally did not know how pit road was going to work, and we thought they were going to turn around. And
No, you thought they were going to turn around.
did you not correct me? Why didn't you correct me?
I'm pretty sure I recall saying that it was a split pit lane.
Don't act like that's like a term that you just say and everyone knows what's going on, because that's not like a normal thing.
A split pit lane is a little bit more self-explanatory than a go around pit road.
They didn't have arrows or a graphic or anything when we were talking about it. So I thought they were going in one way, out the other, and then they were all going to go to the same exit. But it made more sense after we saw it in practice. And nothing bad happened. They were all good. I think Santino Ferrucci might have missed his pit because that pit stall was really tight on the corner. I wish they would have moved that stall to the end of the line or something like that. But yeah, to their credit, they made that work. I thought it was a hell of a race. I think Alex Palou is on a damn tear right now. I don't know if this summer is going to be filled with, yeah, we can appreciate Alex Palou and that's the end of the story and he's really fast and really good for IndyCar, or if we're going to get into this pissing match about who has his contract rights and who's posting press releases.
I think he falls in the perfect category of Chip Ganassi. Is they're not like this outstanding like talent that blows the field out week in, week out. Just enough, like even when you don't have the best day, you're still there when it matters.
I thought today they kind of blew everyone out of the water.
Yeah,
soft green tires, like that helped Will Power get by him, but there was no shot after.
Well, yeah. So like obviously today was his day, but like in general, like even like last week, obviously had a really fast car, had issues, rallied back, finished well, and that's where I think like the Scott Dixons, like that category comes into play. And obviously Ericsson's doing it because he's up there in the points battle. Like it's just Chip Ganassi is known to be very consistent, even when like they don't have the best car. And I think like he had the best car today, but last week was a prime example of like things didn't go his way, but he was there when it mattered.
Connor's going to lose his mind, but the track almost did remind me of like a better Monaco, like just the way that how tight it was and the.
No, that's good for IndyCar. We do Monaco better here.
Yeah.
It was a lot of prime passing opportunities though. You had the long straightaways that kind of set up to for like push the pass.
So what I was enthralled with in that was I showed the driver's view, Josh, to a few drivers at Knoxville that I thought would appreciate the technicality of it. And all of them were perplexed at how you were going to fit 2 cars into any corner that wasn't coming to the straight or coming off the straight.
Sometimes they put 3 wide.
Dude, it was nuts. Also, and we'll get to Rosenquist and stuff, but like the amount of just, we're going to force it, we're going to do it. And they got through it. And it goes back to that. This IndyCar field is better than any IndyCar field that we've seen. I think Stingray Robb is a very talented race car driver. He's still a rookie. He's making rookie mistakes, but he wants to get after it. And I've seen him be fast. I've seen him be talented. I don't think he sucks by any means. Some people were getting that on Twitter today too. We got to stop bringing up these Twitter comments because we're
fueling
mostly on me. I'll knock on my own head. But if you want to call him the worst driver in the series, that's a pretty damn good series. He'd be the ninth best. He'd be the ninth best Formula One driver. I guarantee it.
He was pretty stout in the Indy Next series too. We've seen that he can run up front in other series.
Can we call it Indy Lights again? I still say Indy Lights. It's the worst. I've not had a brand.
This is the first year.
I've not had a brand change that it took me like half the year, and I'm still like, can we just go back to this? Like what?
I was saying
Indy
Lights up until about this year. So.
I don't talk about the World of Outlaws I don't mention NOS. Everything's sponsor aligned. They just changed the name. There's no light company that was sponsoring the series, and there's no NXT WWE wrestling that is now sponsoring it. And everyone in racing, can we please stop putting the letter X anywhere that isn't directly after an E? Okay, the Extreme Outlaw series does not need the X. I promise, looks really dopey. As well as in the NXT without the E, it needs the E. What
about SRX?
All right, they're fine. No, wait. Oh, no. That's still an E. That's experience.
Okay, but
SRX, I feel like it works because it's a 3-letter acronym. I don't know. I'm being very particular and very hypocritical. Thanks, Josh. Stupid. All right, we got to talk about Rosenquist let's Palou's point lead. He's like 50 points up on the field.
Yeah. Yep.
At this point, people need him to have a bad day.
It went from 6 points to 50 in one race.
Yeah. Newgarden lost ground. Everyone lost ground because the points leader won the race, right? That happened.
But
there's a lot of season left. I don't think it's over by any means. Especially with you look at what Felix Rosenquist has done. Look, he's 10th in points right now. That's almost miraculous to think about. The no double Indy 500.
I could get in about Felix, but I'm not going to.
Well, we're going to talk Felix anyways. Are you going to tear him up?
I like the guy. I love him. I love having him on McLaren. He has the tendency to draw bad luck, which obviously not his fault, but also kind of step on his dick a lot. He's like the Colton Herta, in my opinion.
Yeah, talk about doing that. He had a late race, dropped 3 spots on accident corner, which sucks for Cole.
And then, which led to him getting his nose ripped off too.
Yeah, he's a very well capable driver. I think the Indy Championship stuff was brought on his rumors that he wanted to go F1 racing, and Andretti wants to go F1 racing, so he's supposed to be on a bigger pedestal now. I don't even know if we should want that for IndyCar or not. I'd love to keep him in the series. I'd love to keep him here. I'd love if people saw the damn good racing that IndyCar is putting on. They've had 6 races?
Yes.
7 races.
6.
Is it 6?
Actually, no, this was 7. This was 7 now.
Okay, good. I thought I made a mistake in the tweet then. So, literally, there hasn't been a bad race. Today was the worst race of the year, and people called it spectacular.
I mean, there's a lot of drama filled that led to it being the exciting race that it was.
I think, and to go back to your point about Felix, I think Rosenquist is slowing Rossi down a little bit. I think if he lets him go, I think Rossi has a better chance of getting up to first. But
keep in mind, Rossi was second and lost all those spots.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying is that maybe Rosenquist is just faster.
Yeah, I definitely think Rosenquist, he's been with the team longer, so I think he's got the more experience. He's a little bit more comfortable than what Rossi is.
Well, now you're giving him an advantage. So you're saying that they're basically the same driver?
I think once Rossi gets into a rhythm, he will be better. Because right now, according to the points, Rossi is better.
Well,
but I keep in mind there's been twice this year that
Rossi is an Indy 500 winner, and that tells everything about a driver, right? That's so weird to me, man. Like, people watch. I promise you, this isn't just. I don't hate F1. I hate that F1 fans for the past decade have been tearing apart IndyCar, as well as the FIA, which runs Formula One, that views IndyCar as a shitty, low-tier minor league series. I think it's insulting, especially if you look at the talent of the drivers, and I hate people buying into propaganda. That's probably the main point of why I don't like Formula One. I promise you, go give IndyCar a shot, pick a driver that you want to cheer for, and I guarantee you their personality is out there because they're so open, and all of them are good dudes. And I don't know. I just hope we find something to where ratings can go up, because that's kind of the magic slice of pie, that the magic number everyone's chasing, and it doesn't seem to correlate with marketing and the actual racing product on track and anything, really. It's puzzling to me at this point. So now the rain delay today, best rain delay of all time in motorsports.
Rain delay.
Yeah, well, lightning delay. So there's nothing to clean up. It was just, we're going to put the NASCAR race on a lightning clock. And it did not start until like 5 minutes after post-race interviews for the IndyCar race ended. It was insane.
It lined up very well.
It was
I also saw a crazy video that Noah Gragson launched a football from pit road to like row 15 of the grandstands. It's the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Bubba Wallace used to do that all the time.
I know, but this was from pit road. Like, he launched this thing.
That's awesome. No, we had IndyCar on the TV for a bit, so I missed a little bit of the rain delay coverage, but most of it was just them in the Fox Sports booth, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if that was just a lightning delay.
They were also video calling drivers, and it was horrible.
That's stupid as hell. Just go out and talk. I guess, I don't know if you can with the lightning hold or what, but
I don't know why you wouldn't, because they were underneath, like, their, what are they called?
Well, there's a steel catch fence going around the entire racetrack, so if the lightning was going to hit it, it would have hit it already.
Right, and they were, like, the drivers were in their pit boxes, too, so it's not like they were, covered by any means. But, like, at one point, they lost connection with Martin Truex Jr. They couldn't, like, stay... Like, they wanted to ask Reddick one more question. He got cut off. Like, it was not a good look.
Yeah, that happens. But that lightning delay kicked the crap. 2 years ago, I was in Jackson, Minnesota for the Jackson Nationals, World of Outlaws big event on their schedule. Me and my buddy Josh, he does some stuff with our website, Josh Gerlich, if you guys know him. We were staying in this hotel, and they rained out Saturday so we were there Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday they rained out. So we're staying in the hotel an extra night. Nothing to do Saturday. It's just raining. It's brutal. Watching the Xfinity race or something. Or I think there was a cup race at Pocono. They were doing a doubleheader. So we watched that. Go to the track Sunday. Get hot laps done. Get qualifying in or whatever they needed to do. I don't know if they even qualified that day. I don't know what the format was. And this dude comes on the microphone at the racetrack and tells the fans that we need to thank the Lord Jesus Christ for delivering all the rain that was delivered to Jackson, Minnesota on Saturday. And this is day 11 of a 8-race and 10-day span. And I'll tell you, I've never been pissed off so much at some guy I don't know for saying something in my ear. It's the absolute worst. I don't even know, like, post-prayer message or something. I have no idea. But I still remember it. Josh brought it up last week, so I'm bringing it up here. But just absolute worst. We're not thanking anyone for rain. You can have rain on any day that isn't a race day. And it's probably a good time to bring up that through the rest of the month of June, I believe, and I'm just fact checking here, there's only 3 days through the rest of June that we don't have races written down on our schedule. So we'll just fill in the gaps. We'll go on a 30-day bender.
back to our Indy car.
We can.
I mean, yeah, I don't know how else to highlight it. It was a bad day for me to be a racing fan today between,
No, I'm glad you reminded me of this too. I'm forgetting a lot of
yeah.
stuff today. Pato Award. I think I'm as far out on Pato right now as I've ever been in my life.
I think he summed it up in his interview very well. That with having pushed the pass being disabled because he was a lap down, so he felt that he had to make that move because if you look at the replay, Palou was the next car behind him. So I guess he thought ultimately that like he had to make that pass for his race to stay alive. And I'm obviously looking biased trying to defend him. But I think the way he described it was very well. But once again, like he's very much obviously known, especially the last 2 weeks, of pushing his car to the point of breaking. And this 2 weeks in a row now, he's just choked essentially. And it breaks my heart. It does, but it's the
I
truth.
don't think it's even like pushing your car, because that's what people got on Colton Herta about and last season. And
Yeah.
I mean, that was mileaging out an engine. That was a issue with.
Well, yeah, I
engines
think they're more
available.
referring to like the Nashville incidents where he's trying to chase down Ericsson.
He's just pushing his car to the point where you're gonna go into the wall, or you're gonna take someone into the wall with you. And Connor Daly said something similar after the 500 about like I don't know why Pato made that move, because the only result was you're gonna crash or Marcus is gonna crash with you. And he in his mind, in Connor Daly's mind at least, I don't have a strong opinion on, but he said Marcus held his line. I don't know what Pato was trying to do. There's just nothing you can do about that. So for as good as Pato has been and has shown, he seems like a oval guy, and we'll wait to see what he does the rest of the year on street circuits, I guess. I don't know. Like, I think he's fine. I think he's good. I don't think he has the championship season under his belt this year.
No, I was confident in it, and it seems after the last 2 weeks, it's pretty far out there, unless Palou has some major issues. Because if Palou has issues, then it bunches the entire top 7 up. But
right, Pato could go win Iowa twice.
This is true. I'd love to see that.
Now, Joseph Newgarden is absolutely going to win both Iowa races, but
I think they're going to split them again. But
yeah, split them again, like the normal happenings of last year, that Joseph Newgarden just happened to have a breakage in his car. Sure. Himself in the corner. Yeah. We'll see. Pato was very strong there, and he's been strong too. He's been strong at road courses. I don't think he's a one-trick pony or anything by any means. Actually, maybe how I worded that, I maybe made it sound like that. I just don't think he has that finishing the race clutch gene in him right now. So we'll see. A lot of season left, more than half the season. There's no double points Indy 500. We got to wait and see what happens. Very young years so far. Still a lot of races left. All right, you guys want to talk some dirt real quick?
Let's do it.
Caleb, I need your thoughts. What did you think of Jake Swanson's last lap pass last night?
Oh, don't do that to me.
So Jake Swanson, I met him down in Tulsa. He's racing for Alex Bowman, but met him at the Chili Bowl. Very nice guy. His girlfriend is fantastic as well, but very deserving race car driver that kind of came from not much. Brady Bacon comes into this race. Last time they held it was 2020, I believe. And it was another, USAC's here. We're going to do everything in our power to get this race in. We had a long rain delay. When I got done at the racetrack, done with interviews and walking back to the campground where I was staying at that night, we sat down. It was 4:15 in the morning. And we were still racing. So cool night. Brady Bacon won the race by like 6.5 seconds, I want to say. There was no one touching him that night. The top 6 were faster than the rest of the 50-car field. It was not a field like that this year, but the race paid $12,000 to win as opposed to 25 or 20. I think it might have been 20. It's 3 years ago, so I'm hazy on it, guys. But Brady Bacon, with 9 laps to go, was leading by almost 2 seconds, I want to say. Almost 3 seconds. He had his 2.75 or something. He almost got it up to 3 seconds. And the caution comes out. So they reset everything. And I think from what Jake said after the race, I think he noticed some rubber in the racetrack about 2-3 laps into the stint. But he was sitting in fifth or fourth, and kind of crept his way up there. But from what he was saying is he was sliding guys, and then he could slide someone and land the car on the rubber and pick up speed from it. So that's what he was doing. He was just very cognizant of the fact that if you show someone that there's rubber there, it's going to be way harder to pass them, so you got to time out your moves. And that's what he was saying, that he did that all the way up to second, and with 3 laps to go or so, he was like, I think I'm fast enough to catch Brady. I think I'm going to catch him on the last lap. And for someone to think that coming to the finish line, have it materialize, and then make that last lap pass in the final corner of the racetrack on the guy that's owned Knoxville. Like, massive deal, massive win for Jake Swanson. And you can call it a strategy win. You can call it lucky that the track rubbered a little bit. Sure thing. But huge win for that team. I got to talk with his car owner last night. Super interesting, very nice guy. I think he'd be a good podcast guest, honestly. But he was talking to me about Jake and everything and how he came up and all that stuff. So very cool to see Jake Swanson win last night. And we got some breaking news kind of before the race hit that Jake Swanson will be in Alex Bowman's wing sprint car for the rest of the year. Alex is not going to drive that car for the rest of the NASCAR season, I believe. I don't think there was anything from Hendrick. That's my educated guess. Alex just maybe doesn't want to take the unnecessary risk. I haven't talked to Alex. I didn't ask Jake really what Alex said to you about it. But Jake's going to fill in the rest of the high limit schedule, and they're going to pick and choose races after that and avoid the USAC, what do you call it, double bookings? It's not double bookings. It's not cancellations. It's 2 things happening at the same time. I think you all know the word I'm talking about, but we'll move on. But
Doubleheader?
No, that's 2 games on the same day. We want conflicts. No USAC schedule conflicts. I don't think that's even the word either. But no, so it's fantastic to see Jake win. Got to see him autograph the wall at Dingus far after the races ended. So that was fun too.
To my knowledge, it was a rough day for the guys that have ran all the races, wasn't it?
In USAC?
In general, for both races, if I'm correct.
The Knoxville guys they were fine because it was the USAC guys that pulled double duty didn't. Brady Bacon had a failure, exit the race early. Defending track champion Brian Brown ended up winning the race. Austin McCarl was close to him. Justin Henderson had the car to do it and just made him move at the wrong time, or in the wrong corner, as he put it, not really at the wrong time. So that weekly, the 410 race is probably how it was supposed to go. As far as like that USAC, like Jake Swanson was not supposed to win that. Kyle Cummins was not supposed to have that much speed. But Kyle Cummins was the upset points leader kind of coming into the race, and now it's tightened up with Cummins, Brady Bacon, and Jake. And Brady leads the point standings now for that tour. So it's all really interesting how it's coming together and what really matters. They heavily points race. Jake was jubilant that race was Bubby Jones. The series is called the Bubby Jones Master of Going Faster, and it's like the ARCA Sioux Chief Showdown. It's like the same concept, but I think they do it on more of the bigger tracks. So he's leading the points in that, and they were thrilled about that. So the knock on USAC is they don't pay their drivers enough. I would agree without looking at logistics or anything. I'd love to have anyone from USAC tell me why I'm wrong and explain to me their numbers and stuff like that, but I don't think that'll ever happen until these series start sharing TV numbers and stuff, or not TV, but streaming numbers with their drivers and teams. And I don't know if the streaming numbers are necessarily as lucrative as people think they are. So who knows? But USAC's knock is that they don't pay as well as other national tours as far as wing sprint cars, super late models. Those series kind of do. So it's a mix of a lot of things. I think I don't know if you want to do anything to help that, just tweet at Jake Swanson and tell him to run the Knoxville Nationals. We want to see it happen. So I don't know. Do that for us. That's what I have on Jake Swanson. I did want to talk about, Kayla, this is more up your alley. There's a faction of racetracks right now around the Midwest. And I got to go with my friend Knoxville Moths on Twitter, fantastic guy. But he was bringing it up. So Robert Palou, he's a USAC full-time guy. He had tweeted, he said, "What a fantastic racing surface at Knoxville gave us to race on." And that was sarcastic. So the first line in Knoxville Moth's tweet was 12,000 to win and you complain, period. Every World of Outlaws race pays 10,000 to win for wing sprint cars. 12,000 to win is a big deal for USAC. So think about that money-wise. That World of Outlaws race is like 90 times a year, minus rainouts, and USAC races less and pays less. Just some food for thought, something to ponder. But he says in the last 8 days, we have seen rubber Friday at Jackson, Saturday at Knoxville, Monday at Huset's, Wednesday at Tri-State with the High Limit Series, Friday at River Cities with the World of Outlaws, Friday at Dodge County. I believe that was an All-Star Circuit of Champions show. And then Saturday at Knoxville in the non-wing race. He said, obviously there's something bigger going on. Part of that could just be the weather is more dry. Part of that, and I'll put some premium type of info on here, try to get you guys to listen to the podcast a little bit more, grow our listenership. But I think there are some teams that I've heard rumblings of that are worried that there might be a tire shortage coming on soon. Not necessarily we don't have any tires left, but more of you need to go choose between this number and this number that's 2 numbers higher, 1 number higher. There's nothing in the middle there. There's been some doubts that are the left rears softer and laying more rubber in the racetracks. I don't know. I've reached out to a lot of people about it. I've talked to a few people about it. And there's a lot of different answers as to why that's going on, why we're seeing more rubber in the Midwest this week. And if it's a product of the new tires, and if we get 2 more weeks of this, you almost have to say that. Hopefully we don't. But Caleb, do you know what a rubber down dirt track is, right?
Yeah. That's interesting because it's like, I mean, I'm trying to think of what could possibly contribute that would be different.
It could be the fact of the matter is it could be everything.
Yeah, and that's almost what I was thinking. I mean, you wouldn't really think the weather because, I mean, we're used to having warm weather in the Midwest. I mean, this isn't anything abnormal. So you wouldn't think anything of it, but it could definitely be if they're changing up the tire compound or something like that, or just tell me this, like, so on those tracks, then is it the tracks that are doing the prep, or is it? It's
all tracks. It's not like series stuff. Like High Limit doesn't have an excavator or rototiller or whatever.
Well, but I mean, like,
Yeah.
yeah, I know the tracks are like the equipment, but like, do the tracks kind of say like this is what we want for?
I think that's more track by track too. Depends on how confident they are in their track guy.
Gotcha. So I was
Most
gonna
of
say,
them,
unless
most of them won't. I wouldn't say won't take, because I assume they would take suggestions and direction. But most of them know what they're doing and do their thing. And we don't, you don't see Hussett's rubber down a ton. We've seen it before, certainly, but not a ton. You don't see Knoxville rubber down a ton. Some people have told me that they hate that the NASCAR trucks ran at Knoxville because the track hasn't been the same since. We've never seen Knoxville, and y'all go back and tell me, because there's no chance I would have seen it live and been like, that was a rubber down racetrack. I don't remember the last time on one of the 4 nights of the Knoxville Nationals that the track rubber down. And that happened last year. And that was kind of their reasoning with that. Now, it's been over the off season. Is there rubber in the racetrack? Is that what the issue is? Is it any of the things I mentioned before? Have we just had bad luck? Are we still getting into the seat? We've had so much rainouts and stuff. We're only on the 4th or 5th night of this racing season. They get it figured out by August, but there's a lot of days where we go there in April, May, and June, and the track is not like it will be in August. Don't take the results of next weekend's World of Outlaws races at the track as something to look at power rankings wise when the Nationals come around. Now, also, if you're on the fence about coming out, best weekend to do so that isn't Nationals weekend is this weekend with the World of Outlaws coming. So Friday and Saturday, get your tickets. Going to be a fun time. That's not a paid ad. I'm just telling you, it's a great product, a great series, and really fun racetrack to be at. So, sorry.
No, you're good. So which series is that this weekend?
This weekend it was the USAC non-wing sprint car series.
This coming weekend that you were just talking about.
That's World of Outlaws.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, I'm just looking at some of the other notes and stuff.
I don't think it will be too massive of an issue. I'm not sure. It's hard to call today also. You're very contingent on what's the weather looking like for the weekend forecast. What is the dew point this week look like? How is everything? Whoa, holy crap. Sorry, I got Hussett's on the side screen here, and Chuck McGilvery just, I don't know, looked like he came out of nowhere. Gage Polkerbeck involved in the accident. Halfway through the feature at Hussett's. I think both guys are okay. Neither of them flipped or anything, so I think they're fine, but tough sledding there. No, I don't think the World of Outlaws, I'm not looking at rubber as being an issue this weekend, but if it ends up being an issue, and that's kind of a testament to the Duncans and the track crew at Knoxville. They're very good. They're known as the best in the country. I just wouldn't expect it, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see kind of what happens this weekend.
But if it happens, then I go, are we going to Hoosier again? Are we going to have a big deal with Hoosier again?
What do they currently race on?
They changed the compound this year. It's a little different. I think the right rear tire is kind of similar in hardness. Some people want to say it's more. I got told by a team owner last night that the tire was not as hard. So, and I'm not mentioning names for a reason. I didn't ask these people, go out. All these are just facts that are happening and what they think might happen. And I think it's important to have communication like that. Justin Henderson, that safety video, not quote unquote safety video, but we did an interview about driver safety, about having a driver's council potentially, and trying to get down to some of these issues and communicate with them just about what's going on and stuff like that. So I wish we had something like that to kind of have this talked out and have some meetings where we come away with some, we're going to do this instead this week, and we're going to see what happens. But regardless, it's just a unique happenstance right now, and we'll see. To go from the start for you, Caleb, last year and the year before, coming out of COVID, Hoosier Tire was having shortage issues, and the company's very broad statements released, in my opinion, only hurt their reputation more than it helped it. Their reasonings were the supply chain, which, if you leave it at that, is a perfectly fine excuse to have a tire shortage. They were making statements, and I'm paraphrasing, but similar to, it takes 3 to 6 months to train someone to make our tires. That's very long. We can't just fix this weekend. Okay. The next reason was, and also no one wants to work right now. I'm just going to let you know, I don't know if I said this publicly at the time. Maybe I was a little too shy, too new to sprint car racing reporting. If you have a job that takes 3 to 6 months to train somebody to do, and no one wants to work it, you're not paying enough. That's what's going on.
Yeah, I mean,
trust me, I think Hoosier makes enough money. They make a lot of effing tires, a lot.
Yeah, but yet they keep having to raise the prices every 6 months.
So Caleb's an asphalt late model guy, and apparently the company comes up again. And I've never talked to a Hoosier employee that hasn't given me the time of day and been very nice and very open to what was going on. And a lot of their people at racetracks and representatives at racetracks, all of them very well, all of them very good at their job, very good at what they do. Not an easy job to do, right? It's just the optics of how it looks. And if we're worried about it, are we going to hear anything from Hoosier in the coming weeks about kind of examining, why this different tire compound? And frankly, I don't know enough about tires right now. Maybe I should apply to a job at Hoosier, and in 6 months, I'll give you a whole hour-long podcast just about what the hell is different about these things. But are we going to hear anything in the coming weeks addressing whatever the hell is going on? Because it's just bizarre. There's so many. I've never asked I don't know if it was this weekend or not. I don't know if there is just something in the air, but I've never asked everyone the same question and gotten 6 different answers, and then text someone else today and get a 7th. And you're like, what is... I have no clue where to go with what I think it means. But to give you some context, that was the last 2 seasons. They kind of rectified it with the new tire compound. Everything's been good, but now tracks are rubbering up, and it's an issue.
And that's the problem is, unless more and more people say like they think it's a specific Hoosier problem, then Hoosier probably won't say anything about it. Like, they'll just leave it be. Oh, we lost you. I can't hear you.
I just forgot to unmute my microphone.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
I hit mute to sneeze. But we just don't know if it's a Hoosier problem right now. You're waiting to hear about that. You're waiting to make sure that's the issue, if that's what's going on. And I'm not trying to say anything bad about Hoosier. I think that's what I just said has been said over the years, but to connect things sooner for Caleb, hopefully, to know that, did you guys deal with a tire shortage at all on the asphalt A model side?
Well, so most of our classes run Hoosiers. So
Josh is nodding his head yes, and you're going
I recall it being a previous conversation had.
Yeah, so most of our classes run it. So not just late models, but we definitely had to be kind of watchful of yeah, that's a better term. And just kind of tell each other, hey, don't, burn them. And I don't know what the dirt rules are as far as tires, but I know like on the asphalt side, there's rules to how often you can get tires.
Yes, similar type things here that they don't want anyone hoarding a warehouse of tires. I think part of that is what's stopping me from just opening my own Hoosier building over here.
Well, and that's the thing is it's meant to, one, keep costs down so that you're not, hoarding tires. Two, it's meant to be a deal where you can't just, the rich guys can't go spend 4 new tires and do all that. So,
Well, and if you don't have that many, if you don't have an unlimited supply like you think a company should have in that spot, which just isn't. Goodyear does such a job with NASCAR, and there's a reason Goodyear isn't everywhere else. Honestly, monopolizing a tire company to the point of what Hoosier is, you're making a crap ton of tires. You're never going to have enough, right? And that's the main reason is they don't want to run out of inventory after the first 17 guys of the 30 decided to buy 16 sets of tires apiece, and then the next 13 guys don't have any to run on. So,
right.
And then all of them are going to go ask the guys that have tires, and they're going to sell them at an upcharge. So I get that aspect. It was kind of odd during the shortage. There's rumors of who got extra tires and what benefits they had to get them. And I can't say any of those with 100% certainty, so I won't bring up any names or not names, but groups rather. But yeah, just complicated. It could be anything. We don't know. I think we covered it well. Do you have anything else on that, I guess, that specific issue?
I don't think so.
All right. World of Outlaws late model side, Brian Shirley ends up getting the win this week, and he's 5th in World of Outlaws points right now. He's in front of Brandon Shepard. I believe he's in front of another big name, and I forgot who it was because I wrote it down. I didn't go past the top 5. Bobby Pierce up there, Nick Hoffman having a really good start to the season, and I believe did it again, just closed out of it, no reason. Chris Madden leads the series, and then Kyle Bronson, Hoffman, and Pierce are tied at 40. Shirley 62 behind. Very intriguing World of Outlaws race this year. A lot of big names still in it, so I'm very excited to see just what that does going on the rest of the year. Carson Macedo won on Saturday with the Outlaws at Ogilvy. Did you see my tweet? They sell at this racetrack that the Outlaws have never raced at. I don't know why. The like restaurant bar area type thing on the racetrack looks super put together and kind of clubhouse-ish. Looks very nice. On the wall is just an advertisement that said bag of beer 5 for $15.
I did see that, yeah.
I just want the people walking around with a Hy-Vee bag of beers. College Town, you're thinking that guy's messed up. He's definitely not sober right now. And that could be from beer or any other substance at all in the world that exists. But at a racetrack, I think the people carrying around bags of beer are kick-ass. So at some point, they're going to find an ice machine and put some ice in the Hy-Vee sack of beer.
It's a very unique thing. It's a good marketing deal. We did a similar thing at Hawkeye Downs with a cooler, where basically, I don't remember exactly what it is, but it was for $25, you got, the little soft-sided Hawkeye Downs cooler and 6 beers with it. And then to refill the cooler, it was $15 or something like that, So yeah, people love that stuff.
Can I throw a promotional idea at you?
Sure. I don't work at the track anymore, but.
Okay, what if you put beer on a super cheap scale and said you buy 3 beers for $3, but we're gonna throw an egg at your shirt, uncooked egg. And it was that guy bought a beer. I know that. Yeah, he bought that $3 beers for $3 deal. And everyone would just have egg on their shirt at the end of that. I feel like that'd be a damn fun visual.
Let's hope
Definitely
it's
not the
on,
same selling strategies because it just came into my head.
let's hope it's not like a super warm night so that people don't have like cooked egg on.
Do you think the sun's cooking eggs?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I mean, it's the same thing as people putting food on their car dash when it's like 95 degrees out and it cooks food on their car dash.
That's not in your car. It's going to be later in the night. All right, yeah. All right, Carson Macedo picks up the World of Outlaws win. He's the points leader now. Kind of a big three emerging with the Outlaws. I think we knew this coming into the season. These were the contenders. But a very good championship race that's going on. So I'm excited to see how that turns out. Also, our guy Chase Randall just won at Houston's for their weekly show. His second win of the season. He's amped about it. Always cool to see Chase get some done. And he's been very good this season. Shout out Noah Gass running at Houston's as well. So he used one of his World of Outlaws exemptions to run tonight, I believe. I haven't heard that he's off the tour or anything. I am a little bit perplexed that he chose to run that race over some potential others. Not necessarily anything direct by that, but
Maybe it's just he thought he had a better shot or something. Who knows?
yeah, and he could just be getting prep for later this month with the Houston High Bank Nationals. We'll be up there. Highest paying World of Outlaws sprint car sanctioned event of the year. Obviously, the Eldora Million is sprint cars this year. So we'll be in Eldora for that too. But yeah, I would assume it's practice for that. I would assume it's wanting more laps at Houston's for that. Noah's a guy that's gotten steadily improved in a sprint car over the past couple of seasons. So I like seeing that. I think there's guys in dirt racing that don't ever get better and are just kind of that their entire careers. And I think people treat them better or treat them more fairly than they treat the guys that start lower and are ascending for a long period of time. I don't know why. I don't know why they don't get as much respect, but good shit for Noah Gass because he podiumed over the guy that won at Houston's last week in Caleb Johnson. So,
I mean, I'd say that's true for racing across all boards, though. I mean, you look
yeah,
at
you
like
think, yeah.
people like Mark Martin. I think that's a fair one. Where like
You throw out the most high profile, like you said that guy.
like
There's like 70 people you could say, and you say, all right, that's actually that's
I mean,
fair. It's the eye opening one.
say-
You're good at that, Caleb.
or like you think of like a Matt Crafton too. That like they just
The king of the truck series.
exactly.
Keep throwing more out because I want to get to one we agree on.
How do you not agree with those though? I mean, they just kind of like
There's a very obvious name that you could have said the entire time, which I would have just been like, yeah, I guess.
It's hard now because it's like I mean, there's so many to like think about. I mean, who are you thinking of?
I don't want to say the name.
Are you talking about Michael Lynette?
That's a good suggestion, Caleb. I hate to say it. I think he's a little better than that, but
Oh Lord.
also he was ascending and then he broke his leg. So let's not look over that career-changing incident. That's all I'm trying to say. I can't believe it took you that long to come up with that. Come on.
Yeah.
Get off your game, dude. But on that note, we should wrap it up. Did you have anything else to say on that? I like guys like Corey LaJoy, guys like Carson Hocevar that are coming up and trying to get better, and you notice them getting better sometimes, or sometimes you don't. But
Yeah, and I think
today, I know we talked about it being luck, but some people would say today that Corey LaJoy is still way better than Carson Hocevar, and Hocevar just drove the crap out of him.
I mean, that's fair too. I think that's why people are more harsh on the people that are trying to ascend though, because like it's not it's obviously not just a straight up like progression. So the moment then you see some faltering, everybody's going to point at you and be like, oh, hold on a second. But if you're just like, if you finish 8th every single weekend, people expect you to finish 8th. But if you're finishing 15th and then you finish 11th and then you finish 8th and then you finish 10th, people are going to go, oh, hold on a second. Is he bad now? Like, that's where you kind of get yourself into trouble. But yeah, I mean, it's just part of the game, really. Like,
Yeah,
you're
apologies to Flow Racing also. I just somehow hit the cable and put their broadcast on. Did not have permission, so I think we'll be fine. But sorry to them.
I don't even think it had appeared.
It doesn't. Oh,
It
did you not
flashed
hear that?
black, and that was about it.
Yeah, it was 2 seconds of it. It wasn't anything big. Yeah, good stuff. I think hopefully down the road, maybe, I don't know, the general population gets smarter and figures it out. That's a long ways down the road, but I'm amped. It's going to be a damn fun race weekend this weekend with that Knoxville doubleheader and a Crown Jewel late model race. Sonoma never sucks. I know IndyCar's off. They get a much needed break for those guys with what they've been through. We'll preview all of it. We're going to get a guest for Wednesday. Might even have two. We'll see what happens this week. Hope you guys enjoyed the JR interview. We're trying to cut these down. We're trying to make them shorter. I also just think like everything deserves its time. Jet Lawrence won the first two motocross races. He's on a tear there. It seems to be like that's where he thrives. It seems to be a lot of the younger guys thrive outdoors, which is interesting too. Hayden Deegan off to a really good start. I don't know why I called him Braden, so apologies there. NHRA is racing tomorrow morning, Monday morning. Caleb, are they on TV? This is a Damon question, and this is why I want Damon here.
Yeah, I can't tell.
If you guys see Damon, he took a vacation this weekend. He may or may not have been at Gateway today, but he took a damn vacation. So that's probably why we didn't hear from him. The internet probably sucked.
That's fair.
Sorry, everything just clicked in my head there at the end. So, no, thank you guys for listening. We're going to preview that. This is why I should write everything down on rundowns starting now. Caleb, you've embarrassed me without even doing anything, so thank you, I guess. What do you guys think if we do? Josh said he'd want to do a draft of races every week. I think it'd be a fun segment if we picked one race, biggest race of the weekend. We'll do the Eldora Dirt Late Model Dream this week, but we pick one race that weekend, do a snake draft. If you win, it depends how many people did the draft. If you win, you get 3. Like, say we did it tonight, you'd get 3 points. And if it was all 5 of us, you'd get 5. If it was 4, you'd get 4. And then 3, 2, 1 after that.
Yeah. I mean, I think you get everybody involved every week by just
we can. That's
you do. Whoever's on the podcast gets first choice, and then everybody else gets the rest afterwards.
Best versus the rest.
If you're gonna rely on attendance to the podcast, I'm gonna win. I'm just telling you.
But I mean, I feel like that's a fair assessment, though. I mean,
if you guys are fine with that, we can do that. I want to think of a fun punishment for the loser or something. What the hell was that look, Josh?
Can't just do it for fun.
I mean, we can, but I think we laid a body on the line, and it gets a little more interesting. We could make the loser be a Ross Chastain fan for the first 6 weeks of next year.
Oh, how horrible!
If my pick sucked, I would be miserable.
It was like
You couldn't tweet about it. Like you couldn't. That's just one of my ideas. But you couldn't tweet that this is why you're cheering for Ross Chastain for 6 weeks until after the 6 weeks ended.
You automatically, like, if you're last place, you automatically have to have Ross Chastain on your team. That is your first pick.
Yeah, if we get into the Daytona 500, it's like you got to go 1-1 Ross Chastain.
Yep.
Because you just like that guy so much. But yeah, we'll think about it. We'll congregate and do our thing and figure it out. But appreciate you guys for listening. Look for that to come this week. If you have any ideas, send me tweets of what you think the loser should do. Specifically, Josh.
All right.
Maybe he has to tweet one time. Pato Award can't survive an IndyCar. Maybe F1 is more suited for him.
I'll cut my toe off.
Or cut his toe off. He gets a choice. How about that? There you go, Josh.
Yeah.
Options.
No shit. Options, yeah.
All right. Thank you guys for listening. Appreciate everybody. Appreciate Caleb for staying up. He looks exhausted every time. Caleb's working right now. He's doing something.
All of the above.
But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks again to the Carl Auto Group. We will be at track this week with the Outlaws at Knoxville. I unfortunately won't be at Eagle with High Limit. Had a Cyclone Fanatic thing, so you'll get football coverage Tuesday. So apologies. I'll still watch High Limit. I'll be watching on my phone and updating and doing all that on Twitter. So appreciate you guys again, and we're going to work on who we'll have on Wednesday. But I can guarantee it'll be an interesting person if we get one of them on. So read into that with what you will. But appreciate y'all. Thank you. Enjoy your Monday through Wednesday or whenever we do our next show. Should be Wednesday night or Thursday morning. So hope you guys have fun. Excellent time of year. Indiana Midget Week kicking off. Yeah, let's ride. See y'all.